Alright, can homosexuality be learned? I have a little website here. I just searched it up. It says, the gay movement intends to capture the next generation. We need to take action to protect our children. The homosexual movement in the United States has achieved unprecedented power during the past 2 decades as a result of its dedication to one single cause. The overhauling of straight America to accept and embrace the homosexuality as a normal variation of sexual expression. You guys can see here, the little website. It's got a lot of interesting little facts, which it backs up with the Christian Coalition. So there is not only just one site, I've found a lot of them. This was just kind of an example of it. And that proves that there is a prevailing school of thought that homosexuality can be learned. So when I have a question, I like to turn to science. And today I'm going to be drawing from the science of psychology and the good old science of biology. And I would like to educate everybody on the facts as they are today, which is homosexuality is a matter of nature and it cannot be learned during childhood. I'm going to start with psychology. First of all, the APA dropped homosexuality from its list of mental illnesses in 1973, and the World Health Organization followed suit in 1993, which is to say that American medicine today recognizes that it's not a mental disorder. So, it's very common for people to still believe that homosexuality is caused by environmental factors. One of those being an overbearing mother, possibly a father's neglect. Some people think maybe dating or sexual experiences could contribute to it. And a lot of people think that maybe sexual abuse could cause somebody to become homosexual. David Myers, the psychologist who wrote a lot of textbooks, he talks about studies that they did. There was a lot of studies where they did surveys on homosexuals and heterosexuals together, and they asked them about all of these types of things that might have contributed to homosexuality, and what they found was that homosexuals are in fact no more likely to have had any of these experiences than heterosexuals. So there's absolutely no link between anything they can find in childhood and later becoming homosexual. So, with that being said, I would like to look at the biological facts. An interesting fact that you guys might not know about, or you may, is that every fetus starts out as a female. And a fetus with an X and a Y chromosome is destined to be a male, but it depends on a flood of hormones from the placenta so that he can become that way. So everything starts out as female. Once the hormones come in, it tells the fetus what it needs to do as far as developing its sexual organs. Females actually receive the exact same hormones as males do in the womb. The only difference is the different levels of them. So a lot of scientists are connecting the fact that homosexuals have had a little bit of a fluctuation in those hormones, causing them to be a little bit different. And it's not really that unlikely to think that something might go wrong in something that's so precise. And also, homosexuality runs in families, which really suggests that it's an inherited trait. And there was a researcher named Simon LeVay who did studies on the brain. He wanted to find out if there was any brain differences in homosexuals and heterosexuals. And he actually did find that there was differences in the brain anatomy. He found that the anterior commissure is thicker in homosexual males, and I have a little model here where I can show you exactly what I'm talking about, because the brain is fun. The anterior commissure would be what connects these two portions right here. You can move that around. Commissure is a communication point or a brain connection. It's a spot where the brain communicates to the other parts of the brain. Most of the connections that we have are formed in infancy, and the rest of them are basically formed during early childhood.
Mom, play real quick. Captain's coming in here. We can't get him to stay in.
The brain structure difference suggests that homosexuals are different from heterosexuals in the way their brain communicates at a very early age.
Do you want to start over?
I'm not.
Okay.
David Myers describes studies that found that homosexual men's hypothalamus, or heterosexual men's hypothalamus, reacted when they smelled female pheromones. They could see a definite reaction, just they didn't know what it was they were smelling, but their hypothalamus reacted. Homosexual men's hypothalamus does not react to the female's pheromones, but it does react to the smell of men's pheromones. So that suggests also that on a biological level they're different. And if brain structure doesn't fascinate all of you like it does me, maybe fun fly facts will. Scientists performed some experiments on fruit flies, and what they did is they altered one single gene in the fruit flies. And after they did that, the fruit flies started exhibiting homosexual behavior. But don't worry, they're not going to come out with a gay ray gun, because humans are a little bit more complicated than flies are. One way that humans differ from flies are gender roles. Humans tend to teach their children how to behave like girls or boys. They reward gender-appropriate behavior, and they discourage by just disapproving of inappropriate gender behavior. Flies don't do that. So it actually makes it less likely for people to learn to be homosexual because there's so many sanctions in place that people don't really encourage homosexual behavior. David Myers, the psychologist, recounts a similar experiment in which scientists injected sheep with testosterone. It was during that critical brain development part that I mentioned before, where the fetus is developing, and once they injected the sheep with testosterone, all of their offspring started exhibiting homosexual behavior. So it seems like it's also something that can be manipulated if the hormone levels are wrong. They found that it's definitely true in animals. Scientists estimate that homosexual population is about 15% at most, and that's including anybody that's bisexual or even like a little bi-curious. So to put that in perspective, in a classroom of 30, there's probably about 4 or 5 homosexuals, which really makes the dating pool small. It also means that normal examples for kids are not homosexual examples, so it's pretty unlikely again that they're going to learn to be that way based on their environment. It's a very straight-dominated world. Based on what science knows so far, homosexuality is inherited, homosexuals have physiological differences, and homosexuality is a very poor choice if you're looking for a date. There's no evidence that homosexuality is caused by any environmental factors, but there's plenty of evidence pointing to genetic factors. Therefore, homosexuality is certainly a matter of genetics and not a matter of environment. Thank you. Very good.
Did you use any, is it turned off?